Drummerly.com Unlimited Drama Series.
My wife Vanessa wanted to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary at a remote cabin in northern Minnesota. That should have been my first clue that something was seriously wrong. Eric, honey, I've already booked it, she said, standing in our kitchen doorway, wearing that fake smile I'd been seeing more often lately. 3 days at Lake Vermilion. Just us and Chloe. Won't that be romantic? Romantic, right. Because nothing says romance like dragging our 9-year-old daughter to a place with no cell service and questionable plumbing. But I'm Eric Dorsey, recently unemployed security consultant and apparently the world's most gullible husband, so I just nodded and said, "Sure, sounds great." That was my second mistake. My first was trusting my wife in the first place. I should probably explain how I got here. 6 months ago, I was riding high as a freelance security consultant, helping small businesses protect themselves from corporate espionage and cyber threats. Then the economy tanked. My biggest client went bankrupt, and suddenly I was just another middle-aged guy with a mortgage and a family, watching my savings evaporate faster than my self-respect. Vanessa, meanwhile, had been spending more time at her fitness studio, coming home late with increasingly creative excuses. I had to help Sarah reorganize the equipment room, or Jess needed someone to talk through her divorce. Always something. Always someone else who needed her more than her own family. My best friend Leon, a retired detective with the personality of a caffeinated bloodhound, had been dropping hints for weeks. "Eric, man, you need to wake up," he'd said over beers just last Tuesday. "Vanessa's acting weird, like weird. Not just regular married woman weird. She's stressed about money," I'd replied, "because I'm an idiot. We're all stressed." Leon had given me that look cops give civilians who insist their car wasn't speeding. Brother, I've seen a lot of cheating spouses in my time. The signs are all there. But I didn't want to see the signs. I wanted to believe that my wife of 10 years, the mother of my daughter, wouldn't betray us. I wanted to believe that the strange phone calls, the late nights, the sudden interest in girls' weekends were all innocent. I was wrong about that too. The morning we were supposed to leave for the cabin, I was loading our bags into the minivan when I noticed Chloe acting strange. My daughter's usually a chatterbox, especially about trips. But she was quiet, almost sullen. She kept glancing between me and her mother with those big brown eyes that missed nothing. "You excited about the lake, kiddo?" I asked, ruffling her dark hair. She shrugged. "I guess." Vanessa emerged from the house carrying her oversized purse and a cooler I didn't remember packing. "Ready to go, family," she announced with theatrical enthusiasm. As we drove north on Highway 35, Vanessa kept checking her phone despite claiming she wanted a digital detox weekend. Every few minutes, she'd glance at the screen, smile slightly, then put it away. In the rearview mirror, I could see Chloe watching her mother with the intensity of a wildlife researcher studying a potentially dangerous animal. About an hour into the drive, we stopped for gas at a station outside Hinckley. Vanessa went inside to use the restroom and buy snacks. That's when Chloe leaned forward and pressed something into my hand. "Dad, turn around now," she whispered urgently. I looked down. It was a folded piece of notebook paper with my name written in Chloe's careful handwriting. My hands were shaking as I unfolded it. "Dad, Mom has a second phone. I saw texts about you in the cabin. Something bad. Please don't go. Chloe." My blood turned to ice water. "Chloe, where is this phone?" "In her purse, the side pocket." "Dad, I'm scared." Through the gas station window, I could see Vanessa at the counter, laughing with the clerk. She looked relaxed, happy even, like a woman looking forward to a pleasant weekend getaway. "Chloe, I need you to do exactly what I say, okay? When your mom comes back, act normal. Can you do that?" She nodded, her face pale but determined. When Vanessa returned with an armload of snacks, I was ready. "Hey babe, I'm feeling a little carsick. Mind if I drive for a while?" "Of course, honey," she said, sliding into the passenger seat. She placed her purse on the floor between her feet. I waited until we were back on the highway, then made my move. "You know what? I forgot my blood pressure medication. We should probably head back and get it." "Eric, we're already an hour out. Can't you skip it for one weekend? Doctor said not to miss doses." High blood pressure runs in my family, remember? Vanessa's smile flickered. Right, of course. Your health comes first. But instead of turning around, I kept driving north. I needed to see that phone. I needed to know what my daughter had discovered. At the next rest stop, Vanessa went to the bathroom again. The moment she was out of sight, I grabbed her purse and found the phone Chloe had mentioned. It was a cheap flip phone, the kind people use when they don't want their communications traced. The text messages made my stomach drop through the floor of the minivan. Tyler, everything ready for tonight? Vanessa, yes. He suspects nothing. The stuff is in the cooler. Tyler, you sure this will work? Vanessa, trust me. By Sunday morning, I'll be a grieving widow and you'll be my shoulder to cry on. Then we can be together openly. Tyler, what about Chloe? Vanessa, she'll be devastated, but she'll get over it. Kids are resilient. And with Eric's life insurance, we'll have plenty of money to make her happy. I stared at the screen, reading the messages over and over, hoping I was misunderstanding something. But there was no misunderstanding. My wife was planning to kill me. Tonight, at the cabin. Tyler. That had to be Tyler Brandt, the owner of Vanessa's fitness studio, the guy with the perfect abs and the charming smile who'd been so supportive during my unemployment. The married father of two who'd been coming to our house for business meetings while I was out job hunting. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely scroll through the rest of the messages. They'd been planning this for weeks. The remote cabin, the lack of cell service, the cooler full of God knows what poison they planned to slip into my food or drinks. Daddy? Chloe's voice broke through my shock. Are you okay? I looked up to see my daughter's worried face. In the distance, Vanessa was walking back from the restroom, still wearing that fake smile. Chloe, listen to me very carefully, I said, putting the phone back in the purse. We're not going to the cabin. We're going to the police station in Duluth instead. When your mom gets back, don't say anything about what you told me, okay? Is Mom in trouble? Yeah, kiddo. Big trouble. Vanessa climbed back into the passenger seat, chattering about how excited she was for our romantic weekend. I nodded and smiled and made appropriate responses while my mind raced. Every word out of her mouth felt like acid on my skin. The cabin has such a beautiful view of the lake, she was saying, and I packed all your favorite foods. That expensive wine you like. Some of those steaks from the butcher shop. Poisoned food. Poisoned wine. I wondered what they'd chosen. Something that would look like a heart attack, probably. A middle-aged man, stressed about unemployment, drops dead at a remote cabin. Tragic, but not suspicious. That sounds wonderful, honey, I managed to say. In the rearview mirror, Chloe was staring out the window, her small hands clenched in her lap. My brave little girl had probably saved my life. I kept driving north, waiting for the right moment. Vanessa was texting again, probably updating Tyler on our progress. Every few minutes, she'd glance at me with what I now recognized wasn't affection, but calculation. Like a scientist observing a lab rat. Eric, you seem tense, she said. Is everything okay? Just thinking about work stuff. You know how it is. Well, try to relax. This weekend is about us, about our family. She reached over and squeezed my hand. Her skin felt cold. 20 minutes later, I saw the sign for the Duluth Police Department. I took the exit. Eric, where are you going? Vanessa's voice had an edge now. I thought we'd stop and see the harbor before heading to the cabin. Show Chloe the big ships. We can see the harbor tomorrow. Let's just get to the cabin and settle in. It'll just take a few minutes. But instead of heading toward the harbor, I pulled into the police station parking lot. Vanessa went rigid beside me. Eric, what are you doing? I turned off the engine and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married, the woman who'd promised to love me in sickness and in health, was planning to murder. Me for insurance money and the chance to be with her lover. I'm saving my life, I said. Her face went through a series of expressions: confusion, fear, anger, and finally, cold calculation. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're scaring Chloe. No, Vanessa, you're the one who's been scaring Chloe. She's the one who found your second phone. She's the one who warned me about your plan to poison me at the cabin. Vanessa's face went white. For a moment, she looked like she might try to deny it. Then something shifted in her expression, and I saw the real Vanessa for the first time in months, maybe years. You always were too stupid to know when you were beaten, she said quietly. Chloe, get out of the car and go into the police station, I said without taking my eyes off my wife. Tell them your father needs help. Chloe scrambled out of the minivan and ran toward the building. Vanessa watched her go, then turned back to me. You have no idea what you've done, she said. Tyler won't let this go. He has too much invested. Tyler can go to hell. Along with you. She laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You think you've won something? You think this is over? You're still the same pathetic loser you always were. Still unemployed. Still worthless. The only difference is now everyone will know it. Before I could respond, she was out of the car and running. Not toward the police station, but toward the street where a familiar black pickup truck was waiting. Tyler's truck. I should have expected he'd be nearby, ready to help if something went wrong. I jumped out of the minivan and chased after her, but she had a head start and was in better shape. All those hours at the gym had been good for something. Stop, I shouted. Police! Tyler's truck roared to life as Vanessa reached it. She jumped into the passenger seat, and Tyler gunned the engine. They were heading straight for me. I dove behind a parked car as the pickup truck roared past. Tyler's face twisted with rage behind the windshield. They missed me by inches, tires squealing as they turned onto the main road. By the time I got to my feet, they were gone. I found Chloe inside the police station, talking to a desk sergeant, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. When he saw me, disheveled and out of breath, his expression sharpened. Sir, are you Eric Dorsey? Yes. My wife and her lover just tried to run me down in the parking lot. They were planning to kill me this weekend. The sergeant's eyebrows climbed toward his hairline. Sir, why don't you have a seat and tell me everything from the beginning? Detective Marta Kim arrived 20 minutes later. I knew her from my days working security for the courthouse, a sharp-eyed Korean-American woman who'd made detective younger than anyone expected and had the solve rate to prove she deserved it. Eric Dorsey, she said, settling into the chair across from me in the interview room. Can't say I expected to see you here today. Makes two of us, I replied. Chloe was in another room with a victim advocate, drawing pictures and eating vending machine cookies. I'd insisted she be kept away from the details of what her mother had planned. Tell me about this phone, Detective Kim said. I'd turned over Vanessa's burner phone as evidence. The text messages between her and Tyler painted a clear picture of premeditated murder, even if they'd been careful not to use specific words like poison or kill. She's been acting strange for months, I said, staying late at work, going out with friends more often, being secretive about her phone. Classic affair behavior, but I didn't want to see it. And you had no idea about Tyler Brandt? I suspected something, but I thought it was just an affair. I never imagined they'd want me dead. Detective Kim scrolled through the messages on the burner phone. This is pretty damning stuff. The stuff is in the cooler. By Sunday morning, I'll be a grieving widow. We'll need to test whatever's in that cooler. They took it with them when they ran. We'll find them. I've got a bolo out on Tyler's truck. In the meantime, I need you to think about where they might go. Friends, family, other properties. I thought about it. Tyler was married to Michelle, a kindergarten teacher who probably had no idea her husband was planning murder. He owned the fitness studio, but that would be too obvious. Vanessa's mother lived in Mankato, but she'd never approved of the affair, assuming she knew about it. Tyler has a boat, I said suddenly. A cabin cruiser he keeps at the marina. He's always bragging about it. Detective Kim made a note. We'll check it out. What about Vanessa's friends? Anyone who might help her? Jess Morrison and Sam Chen. They work out at Tyler's gym. They've been different around me lately. Like they knew something I didn't. We'll talk to them too. The next few hours were a blur of statements and paperwork. Child Services wanted to interview Chloe, which required calling my lawyer. The media somehow got wind of the story. Local woman plots husband's murder with fitness instructor was apparently too good a headline to pass up. Leon showed up around 6 p.m., looking like he'd rather be pulling his own teeth. Jesus, Eric. When you screw up, you really go all in, don't you? Thanks for the support. You know what I mean. How did you not see this coming? I'd been asking myself the same question all day. I guess I didn't want to see it. It's easier to believe your wife is just going through a rough patch than to accept she wants you dead. Fair point. Leon settled into the chair Detective Kim had vacated. So, what's the plan now? Find them. Make sure they can't hurt Chloe. Try to put my life back together. In that order? In that order. Detective Kim returned with coffee and bad news. Tyler's boat is gone from the marina. Harbor master says he took it out this morning. Said he'd be back Sunday. No flight plan, no destination. They could be anywhere on Lake Superior by now. We've got the...
He texted at 2 a.m. Leave the door unlocked. You left our door unlocked for him?
What? It was
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
Coast Guard looking, but it's a big lake. In the meantime, we need to talk about your safety and Chloe's. That night, Leon and I took Chloe to his apartment. While the police processed our house as a crime scene, they'd found evidence that Vanessa had been planning this for longer than the text messages indicated. Internet searches for untraceable poisons, life insurance policy documents, even a draft obituary she'd written for me. She wrote my obituary, I told Leon, as we sat on his couch, watching Chloe sleep in the guest room. She actually sat down and wrote about what a loving husband and father I was, and how tragic my sudden death was. What did it say? That I died peacefully in my sleep of a heart attack, that I was surrounded by my loving family, that I'll be missed by everyone who knew me. Leon was quiet for a long moment. You know what this means, don't you? That my wife is a sociopath? That you're free, brother. Whatever happens next, you're free of her. And Chloe's safe. He was right, but it didn't feel like freedom yet. It felt like falling. The next morning brought more bad news. Tyler and Vanessa had been spotted at a marina in Thunder Bay, but by the time the Canadian authorities arrived, they were gone again. They were staying ahead of law enforcement, probably monitoring police scanners. They can't run forever, Detective Kim said during our morning briefing, but they can run long enough to become a real problem. What kind of problem? The kind where they decide they have nothing left to lose and come back to finish what they started. That afternoon, I got a call from Michelle Brandt, Tyler's wife. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Eric, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. If I'd known what he was planning... Michelle, it's not your fault. I found things. In his office at home. Papers about you and Vanessa. Insurance documents. Photos of your house. Her voice cracked. He's been planning this for months. Maybe longer. What kind of photos? Pictures of your daily routine. When you leave for work. When Chloe goes to school. Times when the house is empty. She was sobbing now. He was stalking your family, and I never noticed. After I hung up, I called Leon. We need to set a trap. Eric, let the police handle this. The police are reactive. They'll catch Tyler and Vanessa eventually, but not before they hurt someone else. Maybe Chloe, maybe me, maybe Michelle or her kids. What are you thinking? Tyler's ego. He can't stand being outsmarted, especially by someone he considers beneath him. If we make him angry enough, he'll make a mistake. Leon was quiet for a moment. This is a bad idea. Probably. You in? Yeah, I'm in. What do you need? The plan was simple. Tyler monitored social media obsessively, especially posts about his gym. If we could make him look bad publicly, he'd have to respond. And when he responded, he'd reveal his location. I started with Facebook, posting a detailed account of Tyler's affair with my wife and their plan to murder me. I tagged everyone I could think of who knew him. Gym members, business associates, friends. Within an hour, the post had been shared dozens of times. Then I called the local news stations. The story of the fitness instructor and the housewife who plotted murder was too good to ignore. By evening, Tyler's gym was surrounded by news vans. The social media response was brutal. Tyler's business Facebook page was flooded with negative reviews and angry comments. Someone found old photos of him from his high school football days and turned them into memes mocking his current situation. Tyler Brandt, from quarterback to killer, was trending on local Twitter by midnight. My phone rang at 2 a.m. Unknown number. "You think you're smart, don't you?" Tyler's voice was thick with rage. "Smart enough to figure out you wanted me dead." "This isn't over, Eric. You've destroyed everything I worked for. My business, my reputation, my marriage. You destroyed those things yourself when you decided to commit murder. I'm going to make you pay for this. You and that little brat of yours." The line went dead. I immediately called Detective Kim, but Tyler had used a burner phone, untraceable. But he'd made a crucial mistake. He'd threatened Chloe. Now it was personal. The next morning, I got a call from Jess Morrison, one of Vanessa's friends from the gym. "Eric, I need to talk to you about Vanessa and Tyler." We met at a coffee shop downtown. Jess looked like she hadn't slept in days. "I knew about the affair," she said without preamble, "but I swear I didn't know about the murder plot." "But you suspected something." Vanessa was different. The last few months, she was angry all the time. Angry at you, angry at her situation. She said you were holding her back, that she deserved better. And Tyler? Tyler's a narcissist. He convinced her that killing you was the only way they could be together, that you'd never give her a divorce, never let her have custody of Chloe. Jess was crying now. She believed him. She actually believed that murdering her husband was a reasonable solution to her problems. "Where are they, Jess?" "I don't know. But Tyler has a cousin in Duluth, Ray Brandt. He owns a fishing charter business. If they're still in the area," I called Detective Kim immediately. Ray Brandt's fishing charter office was a rundown building near the Duluth harbor that smelled like dead fish and broken dreams. Detective Kim and I arrived just as the Coast Guard was pulling Tyler's cabin cruiser into the marina. Tyler and Vanessa were in handcuffs within minutes. Seeing them again was surreal. Tyler looked like he'd aged 10 years in 3 days. Unshaven, hollow-eyed, his perfect hair greasy and unkempt. Vanessa looked worse. The woman who'd spent hours every day on her appearance looked like she'd been sleeping in her clothes. "Eric!" she called out as the officers led her toward the patrol car. "Eric, please! This is all a misunderstanding." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. "We found the cooler," Detective Kim told me. "Rat poison mixed into energy drink powder, enough to kill a horse. They were planning to put it in your protein shakes." The irony wasn't lost on me. Vanessa had been encouraging me to drink protein shakes for months, claiming she wanted to help me get back in shape. She'd been planning my murder method while pretending to care about my health. The media circus that followed was intense. Fitness studio murder plot was the lead story on every local news channel. Tyler's gym was shut down pending investigation. Vanessa's mother released a statement saying she was shocked and appalled by her daughter's actions. But the real destruction was social. In the age of social media, there's no hiding from public shame. Tyler and Vanessa became local celebrities for all the wrong reasons. Their photos were shared thousands of times, usually with mocking captions. Someone created a fake Yelp page for Tyler and Vanessa's murder planning service that got hundreds of sarcastic reviews. Michelle Brandt filed for divorce and took out a restraining order. Tyler's business partners bought out his share of the gym for a fraction of what it was worth. His football trophies were sold on eBay, with the proceeds going to a domestic violence charity. Vanessa lost everything too. Her fitness instructor certification was revoked. Her friends stopped returning her calls. Even her mother refused to post bail. The legal proceedings moved quickly. With the text messages, the poison, and Tyler's threatening phone call, the prosecution had an airtight case. Tyler pled guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and got 15 years. Vanessa, who'd been the primary planner, got 20. During the divorce proceedings, I learned the full extent of her betrayal. She'd been stealing money from our joint accounts for months, transferring it to accounts Tyler controlled. She'd taken out credit cards in my name and maxed them out. She'd even tried to change the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. She was very thorough, my lawyer said. If she'd put this much effort into her marriage, you might have worked things out. No, I said. Someone who can plan their spouse's murder was never really married to begin with. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. I got full custody of Chloe, the house, and what was left of our assets. Vanessa got a prison cell, and the knowledge that she'd destroyed her life for a man who blamed her for everything the moment they were caught. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Tyler got out on bail pending his appeal, despite Detective Kim's objections. His lawyer argued that he wasn't a flight risk since his passport had been confiscated and his assets were frozen. The judge agreed. That was a mistake. The first sign of trouble came on a Tuesday night in October. I was helping Chloe with her homework when I heard a sound outside, like someone trying to start a car with a dead battery. When I looked out the window, I saw that someone had poured sugar in my gas tank and slashed my tires. I called the police, but without witnesses or security cameras, there wasn't much they could do. Tyler had an alibi. He'd been at his lawyer's office until 9 p.m. with dozens of witnesses. The harassment escalated over the next week. Dead fish in my mailbox, dog feces smeared on my front door. My internet service mysteriously canceled. Someone called Child Services and reported me as an unfit parent, forcing me to endure a home inspection and interview. Tyler was careful never to be seen, never to leave evidence that could be traced back to him. But I knew it was him. The harassment had his signature, petty, vindictive, designed to make me look paranoid when I complained. The breaking point came on Halloween night. Chloe was at Leon's house for a sleepover, and I was alone in the house, handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. Around 10 p.m., after the last of the kids had gone home, I heard glass breaking in the back of the house. Someone was in my kitchen. I grabbed the baseball bat I'd started keeping by my bed and crept downstairs. The house was dark except for the porch light, and every shadow looked like a potential threat. "I know you're here, Tyler," I called out. "Smart man," his voice came from the living room. Not smart enough to leave well enough alone, but smart. I found him standing by the fireplace, holding a crowbar. He'd grown a beard since his arrest, and his eyes had the flat, dead look of someone who'd given up on having a future. "You destroyed my life," he said conversationally. "My business, my marriage, my reputation, everything I worked for. You destroyed your own life when you decided to commit murder. No, that was Vanessa's idea. I just went along with it because I loved her." He laughed bitterly. "Turns out, she was just using me. Soon as we got arrested, she started claiming I manipulated her, that she was the victim. And now you want revenge on me? I want you to know how it feels to lose everything." He hefted the crowbar. "Starting with your health." Tyler was bigger than me, stronger and younger. But I had two advantages. I was defending my home, and I was smarter than he was. The living room had been my office during my unemployment, and I'd installed a security system to protect my computer equipment. Hidden cameras, motion sensors, and a direct connection to a monitoring service. Everything Tyler was saying was being recorded. "You know this won't solve anything," I said, backing toward the stairs. "Beating me up won't get your life back. Maybe not, but it'll make me feel better." He swung the crowbar at my head. I ducked and rolled behind the couch, then came up running. Tyler was fast, but the living room was cluttered with furniture. I made it to the kitchen before he caught up. The kitchen was where I'd prepared for this moment. Over the past week, while enduring Tyler's harassment, I'd been setting traps. Nothing that would seriously hurt him. I wasn't trying to commit murder, but enough to give me an advantage. Tyler came through the doorway at full speed and immediately slipped on the cooking oil I'd spread across the floor. He went down hard, the crowbar skittering across the linoleum. I was on him before he could get up, pinning him to the floor with my knee on his back. "It's over, Tyler. Get off me. The police are already on their way. The security system called them automatically when you broke the window." That was when Tyler made his final mistake. Instead of surrendering, he tried to fight. He was stronger than me, but he was also lying on a floor covered in cooking oil, and I had leverage. The struggle lasted about 30 seconds. When it was over, Tyler was unconscious, and I was sitting on my kitchen floor, shaking with adrenaline and the realization that I could have died. The police arrived 5 minutes later, followed by paramedics and Detective Kim. "You okay?" she asked, helping me to my feet. "Yeah, shaken up, but okay." "Tyler? Concussion, probably. He hit his head when he fell." Detective Kim looked around the kitchen, taking in the oil on the floor, the broken window, the crowbar. Self-defense? All the way. And it's all on video. Tyler was charged with breaking and entering, assault with a deadly weapon, and violation of his bail conditions. This time, there was no bail. He went straight to county jail to await sentencing. The video of our fight, recorded by my security system, somehow found its way onto YouTube. Within 24 hours, fitness instructor gets owned by unemployed dad had 500,000 views. The comments were brutal but satisfying. Tyler's appeal was denied. He would serve his full 15-year sentence. Vanessa, watching from prison, filed for divorce from Tyler, claiming he'd manipulated and abused her. He responded by giving an interview to a tabloid magazine, revealing intimate details of their affair and her role in planning my murder. They destroyed each other more thoroughly than I ever could have. 6 months later, I was back on my feet. My security consulting business was thriving. Apparently, surviving a murder plot was good for my reputation. Chloe was doing well in therapy and had stopped having nightmares about her mother. Leon and I were having beers on my back deck, watching Chloe play in the yard, when he asked the question I'd been expecting. Any regrets? I thought about it. My marriage was over. My wife was in prison. My daughter would grow up knowing her mother had tried to kill her father. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but we were alive. We were safe. And we were free. No, I said. No regrets. What about your anniversary? October 15th is coming up again. I smiled and took a sip of my beer. Next anniversary, I'm thinking Vegas. Fewer snakes,